Hey folks, Dude here, coming to you again, another edition of me in the Dude, basement, workshop, call it what you will, and, I know I need to work on my lighting situation. I mean, I literally have as much light turned on as I possibly can, and that's it. Alright, so basically, we have ourselves some stuff to, employ. So, basically, you got the, RUGER PC carbine, so gotta employ that, and good stuff like that there. So we basically got the RUGER carbine in frame, kinda. And I know you guys basically have seen me wanting to do the comparison side by side of the RUGER PC carbine and, of course, the S2000. Yes, the KELTEC S2000. So basically, you got a release guy here. Grab that, flip that over. It is now employed. This one, I do need to take it apart and switch out the clamshell, because literally what it is, you switch out both sides of the receiver, and you make it then into a Glock compatible. Right now, this is rocking the Smith & Wesson M&P magazine setup, but it's easy to switch these things out. Just takes some time and effort. So, obviously, there's going to be the, what do they look like side by side? So, let's get them side by side. Hang on one second here, and I'll be right back. All right, okay, this is really me cheating the angles here. But both of these have the muzzles currently on the wall. Comparison side by side. You really want that side by side? Okay, give me a second here. I got to get in frame and do all kinds of stupid stuff here, but give me a second. Okay, so RUGER PC carbine looks like this. Does actually have a 10-round Glock magazine in there, YouTube, so it's perfectly legit, capable and what have you. And I just got the muzzle in frame here, okay? So the S2000 carbine, let's see what they look like in comparison. So butt to butt, don't get any questions or strange thoughts here. Butt to butt, it is a much shorter enterprise for the S2000 versus the PC carbine. The PC carbine obviously has more overall length. Well, what's the actual difference? Let's find out. Get out the official, tape measure here and see what we got. So, S2000 being exactly 29 and a quarter inches in overall length. RUGER PC carbine being, excuse me there, KELTEC, you're kind of a little in the way there. RUGER PC carbine in overall length being 35 and basically 35 inches. So, literally it's 6 inches longer in overall length. Does take down at the receiver junction, as opposed to this one being a fold-up wanker. So, literally what this guy does, and no, I'm really off frame here, but I'm like literally with the camera behind me. But literally what happens here is you don't need to pull the magazine. What you do is you push down on the trigger guard. The barrel then unlatches. It's a little stiff because it's new. And what happens is the rear sight folds into the receiver, and bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. You have yourself a handy little doohickey with a 9mm hole in the, chamber side. So what happens here, of course, is when it goes to employment, you have the lever, like I said. Take said lever, lift up slightly, unlocks the barrel. Barrel then goes down, and you are ready to go. Your cocking lever is here. So this is something to take note of. If you ever handle one of these guys and you're actually playing with them, if you shoot offhand, the bolt reciprocating is going to smack the crap out of you. So you cannot put in an offhand grip, any place in this region, because literally you can look underneath, and that is the area where the bolt travel is going to be. Now, there is actually a lockout area where you can take this guy and pull this guy back, lock it open, and you can almost kind of do the H&K style slap. So that's the hold open on the S2000 is actually this area back here on the rear receiver extension, I guess you would probably call it. But literally this area here, which is basically just a steel tube, the receivers are going to be two halves. There's a fold down rear sight, a non-fold down front sight, and obviously it does have, you know, receiver rails and all good stuff like that there. Give me 1 second here. Somebody's calling me. Okay, so having disaffected myself from the incoming phone call, essentially you see these two systems side by side. Now, the weight on this one is probably about 2/3. The Ruger's a chunky little spud, but man, I'll tell you what, that thing is really not going to move around much when you shoot it with, obviously, a 9mm projectile. The other thing that's really nice is both of these are set up with threaded muzzles. So literally you have the, you know, the protector that unscrews. You have, I think this one's also a 1/2x28. Let me take a quick snoop at it. Yep, it is also a 1/2x28 thread. So any of your muzzle devices read like quiet toys, or essentially the you know, flash suppressor of your choice, which really with 9mm it's kind of null and void after about a 16-inch bore. The other really nice thing about these guys is essentially you're going to have very close to 357 ballistics, because you're now utilizing the majority of the powder. Even though it's really not intended for carbine or rifle use, you know, call that what you will, you're going to get a more complete burn on the powder. Translation, I literally have been around people shooting these things, and even without ears, I'm not saying it's completely pleasant, but without ears, it is not the same thing as shooting a pistol. It's barky, but it really, for all intents and purposes, it really truly sounds like a big-ass 22. So again, like I said, basically you have this guy. For the takedown, essentially, you basically have the trigger guard, you push down on said trigger guard, and it breaks in half. Kind of almost like a break-open shotgun, except it does it in reverse. So you have a compact little package here, and literally the longest thing here is going to be the barrel. So you have a 16-inch package by about, what, like maybe 10 inches or something. This one is more compact than the Ruger PC carbine. So that one taken down looks like such. Okay? This guy taken down, of course, you should probably always lock the bolt to the rear before you remove the, well, the barrel assembly. So essentially you have here a takedown button. Push the takedown button. I know I'm kind of blocking it with my arm, but push that takedown button, rotate it 1/4 turn, 160-degree turn, whatever it is. You know, basically whatever it is you return it, rotate it a little bit to the left, pops apart. You have the H&K style lugs around there. That actually is the receiver lockup for the barrel. So essentially you just, boop, completely taken down. So package-wise, there you got that one there. Package-wise, you got that one there. So literally you can see these two guys side by side. And I did not pay retail price on either of these two things because I saw an opportunity, I snapped them up. Now the coolest thing about this one, of course, is literally the KELTEC is little bit more bitty. So you can see literally the PC carbine barrel on top of that. Obviously you're going to see the size comparison basically being the barrel is the longest component of the KELTEC, but the actual carbine stock and, you know, receiver and all the rest of that fun stuff is going to be the longest component therein of the PC carbine. Now, the other big thing about these is sighting options. Truthfully, the KELTEC is really, truly not intended to have a scope on board. Now, there is aftermarket guys, and I have seen them, like M. Carbo or some of those other dudes. What was it? MI, you know, so basically, whoever industries, I'll put in the annotations because I'm probably screwing up something stupid. But you see these slots here on the KELTEC, and what essentially happens here is they have a mount that screws into one of these slots, and what it does is it loops over the rear receiver tube, and it rotates 180. So you could have like a small sight on there, like a small red dot or something, and one of those RMR sights or something along those guys. And essentially what happens there is it flips over and it hides itself underneath this tube. Now, what happens then is you flip it 180, you then take the barrel, release the barrel from the lower receiver, or, you know, the actual receiver, flip it over, boop, rotate that guy 180 degrees, and then, of course, it will co-witness with the sights on the weapon system. That's kind of a workaround. This thing really, truly is not built for scoping at all. Trust me on this one. It really isn't. The PC carbine on the other side has built-in Picatinny rails. This guy is literally built to be a scoped rifle. Now, would I go really ridiculous with a scope? No, I probably wouldn't go much more than about a 1 to 4 variable. 3 to 9 at an absolute upper limit. It really, truly just doesn't scream, do these things to me. This does actually have some minor scraping on it, so obviously somebody did use it for something else, or they put a witness mark on there. That wasn't me. That was a previous guy. But I did buy this used, so that's the way that guy works. Now, if anybody wants to really know the controls on these guys, very, very simple, very, very easy. On the PC Carbine, you have a safety. So literally a 1022 style safety. Correspondingly, you have a 1022 style bolt release. So there's a little doohickey underneath here. I don't know if it's going to really reflect so good in the light. Let me drop the magazine out. Obviously a Glock 10 rounder, so we're completely legal there, YouTube. But you can see there's a bolt release right there. So essentially, you pull bolt back, push this guy in such a manner as to dislodge him. I don't know if it's going to do it here. There we go. All right, so I was actually locking it. So basically, if you want to lock this open, pull the bolt back, push that guy up, it stays in place. To release, that's it. Now, I don't like dry firing these with the barrel out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry fire it with the barrel in. So give me 1 second here. And I will give you a side-by-side of what my impressions are for the triggers on these two weapons. Okay, so PC Carbine, bolt goes forward, safety goes off, trigger impressions. It's actually really nice. Really single stage, not a whole hell of a lot of take-up. Kind of a long reset. It feels like maybe about 5 pounds at best. It is really, really smooth and crisp. Now, the nice thing also is these guys use 1022 trigger groups, so any of the Volkartsen or any of the really boutique, good name 1022 stuff will work in these guys. Now, correspondingly, let me drop the magazine out of this guy just to make sure we're completely safe here, because, it doesn't have a last round hold open. Unlike the PC Carbine. PC Carbine actually has a last run hold open. This guy's just going to run dry. Okay, so obviously weapon's cocked. The safety is not quite so easy to present. The safety is way, way up here. So not nearly as convenient in any way, shape, or form. The safety is like way, way up here. So safety on, of course, weapon system is dislodged. I think it's actually a trigger disconnector. So it literally doesn't do anything until you deactivate the safety. Now, the actual hammer fall on this guy is pretty impressive. This thing's got a healthy little crack to it, as opposed to the PC Carbine made a nice little snick. This thing actually sounds like a damn mousetrap going off. Okay, so weapon system cocked. Trigger pull is long, mushy, icky, yuck. Very, very long reset. It's not a deal breaker. I could get used to it. But this one is a long, mushy, squishy, shifting stages, transitory, blech, kind of trigger feel. There's no other way to describe it. It just doesn't feel great, okay? And I don't dry fire these things with the barrel dislodged, okay? That's just me. I want to have the bolt set back just enough that I don't do any damage. Now, I believe you can actually take this guy apart with the weapon uncocked. So let's give that a whirl here, see what I can do. Nope. But there is a trick to it. You basically pull back just enough on the bolt to cock the hammer, and then you can do this. Now, the other trick of the trade is, how do you decock this? Well, you have the hammer fully cocked, right? What you do is you pull the bolt handle back, and there's like a transition point where you can literally catch the hammer and let it down, because that's now decocked. So you don't ever want to dry fire these things if you can avoid it. So there's like a transition point where you feel there's like a step where the disconnector's kind of going, okay, I'll allow you to do this, and you can catch the hammer and then let it down. Okay, so that's how that one works. That's how the other one works. Obviously, you really can't mix these two magazines up, but Glock and the PC guy, they're actually kind of similar. I know my light's shifting like crazy here, not sorry about that. But they're really kind of similar. As a matter of fact, I could actually stick this in here, and it may even latch. So let's see what happens here. Let me lock the bolt back real fast. Okay, bolt's locked back. No, catch is different. But the big question is in an emergency, would it feed? It may or it may not. I don't know if I want to chance that one. But the biggest thing is the sheer size of a Glock mag compared to the PC mag. It's... I don't know if I can really show this in description and, descriptively, but the Glock mags are fatter. I mean, literally the Glock mags are fatter, okay? The other big difference is, of course, obviously, if you do some good shopping and you look around, you can actually find, these guys. Yeah, they're just a little bit more, spicy, shall we say. Yeah, just a little bit more spicy. And they do tend to fit, rather nicely. Yeah. I still have yet to take these guys out to the range and play with them. I do want to convert the KELTEC over to accept the Glock mag, so I have standardized on magazines. And the nice thing, of course, is, the Glock setup on the KELTECs can go either one of two ways. And the biggest difference is simply this. On the KELTEC, you will have the PC, I think it is, or, the S&W pistol setup, which is what this one has actually done. And there is the Glock 17 and the Glock 19. The only difference between those two magazine setups on the KELTEC is simply the grip length. The 19, of course, being shorter because 19 mags are shorter than 17 mags. But if you have a 17 mag setup, you are limited to the longer mags because they simply just stick out too far. And, they just... Well, actually, no, the 17s will go into the 19s. Okay, 19s won't go into 17s, okay? 19 mags aren't long enough, and if you do try to stick them in there, you're going to run into problems because it'll come up just a little bit short because it won't grab the magazine catch. All right, so you guys seen these guys side by side now. Hopefully my lighting wasn't completely terrible. This is one, of course, being the KELTEC S2000 versus the PC carbine. And I gotta tell you, man, in terms of 9mm carbines, I am really kind of stoked here to have both units in my possession. And I really, 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 really want to go to the range and have some good range time. I just haven't had opportunity yet because, obviously just life intrudes. All right, so I'm going to break up this one, folks. Eat good, keep thundering as always, you know it, you love it. PC carbine versus S2000. Good stuff like that there. And I will catch you guys later. And if you have any questions, do be sure to put them in the, the video comments or, questions, what have you. And yeah, good stuff like that there. And I'll get back to you guys. All right, so I'll catch you guys later. Eat good, keep thundering as always, you know it, you love it. 9mm carbines. How cool is that? Pretty cool, actually. I'm going to play with these guys and have some fun. See you guys.